Mike Tyson from $600 million to broke. Video by Sunny V2. 600 million is an insane amount of money. The average person probably spends like $1 million or $2 million in their total lifetime. So be able to go from 600 million to broke, I don't know what the hell he was doing. I understand, yes, if the income's not coming in anymore and you keep up with the spending, it's going to be an issue.
Despite earning $600 million over the course of 6 years, Mike Tyson celebrated his 36th birthday with a bank account reading 0. So how did Mike Tyson go bankrupt? Well, Tyson made it clear that a financial education wasn't a part of his childhood.
From a broke background, I never really learned the art of handling money as a kid.
Which became a problem as he began to earn millions whilst he was still a teenager.
That's going to be a problem for almost everyone when you have that much amount of money. Yes, most people are not going to know how to handle it. And what you need to remember is that boxing, yes, it is a short career. Once you're like in your mid-30s and you're unable to fight, a big portion of your money is not going to be coming in. So you can't really rely on boxing or actually stepping in the ring as your main income source for the rest of your life.
Becoming champion at the age of only 20, Mike Tyson began to average $7.5 million per fight, and this didn't even include his other sources of income. He was paid over $50 million in casino deals, $3.5 million for a WrestleMania guest appearance, while Mike Tyson's Punch-Out sold 2 million copies during its very first year.
Yeah, if he's making $7.5 million per fight on average, imagine in today's age with the Riyadh season, he'd be making loads. At least 100 mil.
1990, Mike Tyson was credited as the highest paid athlete in the world with an estimated $28.6 million in income this year.
Who's it now, like Ronaldo?
This changed when he was sent to prison only 2 years later. Between 1992 and his release in 1995, Mike Tyson was unable to earn a single dollar. Although as summarized by this CBS article, he wasn't exactly struggling when he finally walked free. Most Indiana prisoners are given $75 in spending money to ease their transition back into society. Tyson needed no such help.
Well, of course,
the former heavyweight champion had 2 checks, each made out to him for $10 million. In the next few weeks, Tyson would get another $12 million for the rights to future fights and television. A few months later, he earned the most money ever given to a boxer, $25 million, to fight a stiff named Peter McNeely. Over the next 2 years, Tyson earned a further $140 million from 5 different fights, making him feel invincible.
Money is a false sense of security.
False sense of security. Nothing about it could be a real.
Invincible with money.
Sure.
Feel like you can't even die.
Which, when combined with the bitterness from his time spent in prison, caused Tyson to begin spending everything.
For me being poor, never having anything, for me being bitter, angry for being in prison, it stems from a lot of things.
Firstly, there were the cars. According to CBS, Tyson reportedly bought 110 cars either for himself or as gifts, one of which being a $320,000 Bentley Azure, the most expensive production car in the world. Tyson bought it and ordered 4.
320k. Yes, that is a lot of money, but most expensive production car. When you think about the cars now, like Bugattis and Koenigsegg's, they're millions.
More. In the space of a few minutes, he had spent more than $1.5 million, while in a different instance, Tyson showed up at a car dealership just outside New York to buy another car. He bought a Ferrari for $300,000, declining a test drive because he already had one just like it. On a different day, Tyson was pulled over whilst driving his Rolls Royce without a license, but was able to get out of trouble by giving the car to the cop.
You know, sir, why don't you just take the car? You know, you deserve it because you've been doing a lot. Because I didn't want to get arrested. I didn't have a license or anything. And I didn't want my wife to get in trouble. I said, why don't you just take it? You know, it was around 230 at the time, and they took it.
This didn't end well.
Fair play, but surely the cop, did he not get in trouble? I know they wear their body cams, but to be straight up bribed and accept it, I don't know. I mean, if I was the police officer, 100% I'm taking the Rolls Royce instead of arresting someone. That's why I would not be one.
For the officer,
he got fired.
Okay, so he got caught.
Although it did end well for Tyson's friend Ed Lover, who was given a Bentley so he could drive home from a club.
He goes, here, take the car. I'm like, okay. He gives me the Bentley. A month go by, I still have this car. He said, I wanted you to have that car. He said, I gave you that car.
With so many vehicles, Tyson needed somewhere to store them, purchasing mansions in Las Vegas, Ohio, and Maryland. However, these were nothing compared to the house he bought in Connecticut. It featured...
I mean, here's the thing. Okay, he's buying all these houses. Once he goes broke, surely he could just sell a house and yeah, he'll be good for a couple years. That's the part I don't understand is when you have so much money, how the hell do you go from 0? Yes, I understand you're no longer going to have an income, but the stuff that you bought, you could still sell and get some money out of it.
21 bedrooms and 35 bathrooms, as well as a full-blown nightclub, a movie theater, a mini casino, a squash court, and a fully spec'd out proper commercial gym, but this was only the inside. Outside there was a full-size basketball court, a swimming pool with its own grotto, and get this, its own lake, lake house, and fountain on a 17.6 acre block. If the house looks familiar, it's because Tyson eventually sold it to 50 Cent, who called it his biggest financial mistake.
What was the most, like, when you wasted money?
The Tyson crib was like that.
Mainly because of how much the property cost to run.
How much was the upkeep, guesstimate per year?
About $700,000
a year.
Tyson expanded on this in a different interview.
It's gonna cost me $25,000 just to mow the lawn.
Think about it, when you have a house that big, imagine when it's night, you need to shut off the lights. The fact that you gotta walk so far to simply shut off a light switch is insane. Like, at some point, a house just has to be too big for you to live in.
Which, when combined with his other houses, meant gardening bills alone mounted to $100,000, although the gardener was still a minor expense compared to the things Tyson bought for these houses. As a gift,
That's another thing, the team that you have to build to actually maintain the house. Is it even your personal space anymore? If you've got someone like a mechanic coming in, looking at your cars, a gardener to make sure your garden's okay, like a cleaner, all those different people having access to your property, it just loses that sense of privacy. It would just feel like an office building at that point. Now I understand why some really rich people, they'd rather have an apartment that's smaller than a massive mansion to live in, even though they got the money to afford it.
for his first wife Robin Givens, Mike spent $2.2 million on a solid gold bathtub, which was followed by their divorce less than a year later, which cost
Not
Mike
ideal.
a further $10 million in legal fees and compensation. Tyson had also dropped $410,000 on a birthday party and $140,000
What was that spent
on
on?
two white Bengal
Gifts?
tigers, which needed their own specialty enclosure, $200,000 a year worth of food, and their own animal trainer, which Mike hired at a cost of $125,000 a year. Mike also had to pay a friend $250,000 in compensation after they were bitten by one of the tigers, although there was another bite that cost Tyson even more.
Okay, what I don't understand about having these crazy animals like tigers as pets, do you not fear that they can just one day just turn your back on you and just eat you? Not only that, they can harm you as well. Think about it. Is the risk to reward really worth it to have like a tiger as a pet?
During a match in 1997, Evander Holyfield headbutted Tyson, who in retaliation bit a portion of Holyfield's ear off. Tyson was
that's
disqualified
nasty.
and fined $3 million, although it seemed he hadn't learnt his lesson, as he then bit Lennox Lewis's leg during a press conference, warranting another $335,000. Lennox Lewis's leg during a although it seemed he hadn't learnt his lesson, as he then bit Lennox Lewis's leg during a press conference, warranting another $335,000 fine.
Yeah, it's just
In
weird
the
for him.
process, Tyson employed over 200 different people, including chefs, chauffeurs, and bodyguards, the most pointless of which being a guy nicknamed Crocodile, whose sole function was to dress in fatigues and repeatedly shout guerrilla warfare at Tyson's news conferences, for which he was paid $300,000 in 1996. In another
What? I swear some people easily get away with robbery. Like 300k for someone to dress you. Did Mike even realize that he was getting finessed? I understand the purpose of hiring a designer, but 300k? Come on, that's just extortionate.
crazy instance, Tyson walked into a club and offered to pay for everybody's drinks all night.
Mike calls me over again. Ed, come here. I go, what's up, Mike? Tell the DJ I got the bar until the club closed. I said, what are you talking about? I'm buying the bar out. Everybody can have whatever they want.
However, there was one final expense that was higher than any other.
Do you regret anything?
Yeah, and I didn't pay taxes, really.
That'll get you, yeah.
It was revealed in 2003 that Tyson owed $13.4 million to the IRS, $117,000 to 5 different states, as well as $4 million to British tax authorities, and things only
All that
got
tax
worse
is
from
insane.
here. Turns out most of Mike's luxury purchases were being made on credit, and as a result, he also owed $27 million to various different businesses, including $600,000 to a legal company, $500,000 to his finance manager, and $800,000 to a former trainer, all of which were stacked on top of a second divorce. Tyson owes money to at least 246 creditors, including the Internal Revenue Service, the Screen Actors Guild, and dozens of doctors, lawyers, and accountants. Tyson owes his ex-wife Monica Turner almost $9 million from their divorce, and he hasn't paid $19.4 million in tax taxes to
the
the
taxes
IRS
is
Great
daylight
Britain and
robbery.
5 states, which was an extra large problem as Tyson was down to his last $1,250 in cash. Tyson, 38, said all of his houses have been sold or seized, and he owns only one car, albeit a white Hummer SUV, newly purchased and apparently not yet paid for. According to a white Hummer SUV, newly purchased and apparently not yet paid for. According to
Starting
bank
to make
records
sense
Tyson's
now.
attorney submitted to the US bankruptcy court, Tyson earned $38 during January. His living expenses during that month
was that
were more
from?
than $407,000. Mike Tyson was completely and utterly screwed. However, he devised a plan to get himself out of trouble. Tyson's reorganization plan is ambitious. He
I mean, at that point, if you're only making like $40 and you're spending $400k, surely you need to just start selling like the mansions that are costing you just to maintain or whatever it is. Again, I ain't Tyson, so I don't know what the hell he's doing.
hopes to earn at least $19.5 million from boxing over the next 3 years to help satisfy his creditors, although this isn't what would happen. In fact, he'd lose both of his next 2 professional fights before retiring from boxing and filing for bankruptcy. At the time, he'd state,
Crazy
"My
to think
whole
at the
life
end
has
of
been
his
a
career.
waste. I've been a failure. I just want to escape. I'm really embarrassed with myself and my life. I want to be a missionary. I think I could do that while keeping my dignity without letting people know they chased me out of the country. I want to get this part of my life over as soon as possible. In this country, nothing good is going to come of me. I'm so stigmatized there is no way I can elevate myself. I'll never
Have you seen that clip of Tyson where he's like interviewing a girl who does not look a day over 12? And he's like, legacy doesn't matter. Once you're dead, you're dead. It's starting to make sense why he said that.
be happy. I believe I'll die alone. I would want it that way. I've been a loner all my life with my secrets and my pain. I'm really lost, but I'm trying to find myself. I'm a really sad, pathetic case. With nothing else to do, Mike spent his days caring for 350 unique pigeons, a collection which prior to bankruptcy,
lot.
he'd paid $400,000 for. He'd later likened his spending habits to a drug addiction.
It's like the drugs. You might as well say you
It's
have it
not
all,
good.
but it's still that empty hole that you're trying to fulfill. You spend as much as you can to try to get that satisfaction, fulfill that hole. It just is bottomless.
However, Tyson's life wasn't finished yet. Losing everything had taught Tyson a valuable lesson,
I know the power of humbleness now.
How did you learn that?
I have to lose everything.
with humility acting as a baseline for him to rebuild his life. Tyson took the lessons he'd learnt and transformed them into a book, whilst his life story was also the perfect premise for his own documentary. On top of this, Mike landed a cameo role in both The Hangover 1 and 2, for which he was paid $300,000. Through these
good that he's
various
making
media
money outside of
appearances,
boxing.
Mike was able to rebuy himself a pretty awesome house in Vegas, although he refused to let money dictate his happiness.
Is there anybody that thinks a lot of money is going to make them happy? They never had a lot of money.
Because it don't make you happy.
Yeah, oh no, it's going to make you miserable. You said, well, it can make you hate yourself.
Since then, Mike has launched his own extremely successful podcast called Hotboxing and built a net worth of $10 million.
I mean, yes, 10 million isn't a lot compared to 600 million. It's good that he found a way to get himself back up on his feet.